Welcome to the Shadows, a journey through Oregon's most haunted places. Hello, dear friends, and welcome back to another spine-chilling episode of our haunted storytelling series. If you've joined us before, you know we thrive on uncovering the darkest corners of history, the places where the veil between the living and the dead grows thin. Tonight, we're venturing into the Pacific Northwest, where mist-draped forests, abandoned towns, and eerie landscapes hide secrets that have haunted generations. Oregon, known for its lush greenery and rugged coastline, is home to some of the most haunted places in the United States, locations where history, tragedy, and the supernatural collide in the most terrifying ways. From the shadowy corridors of the Shanghai tunnels beneath Portland to the spectral whispers of Bagby Hot Springs. From the blood-soaked halls of the Oregon State Hospital to the ghostly figures that roam the historic streets of Silverton, these places are steeped in mystery and fear. Whether it's the flicker of a phantom light in the distance, the whisper of an unseen voice, or the sudden drop in temperature on a summer night, these haunted grounds are said to be teeming with the energy of those who have passed. Some believe that these spirits are trapped, unable, or unwilling, to move on, while others suggest that the sheer weight of human emotion, of grief and loss, leaves an imprint on the land itself, making these places hotbeds of paranormal activity. Tonight, we're counting down the most haunted places in Oregon, locations where history, tragedy, and the supernatural intertwine in the most unsettling ways. From the infamous tunnels that once served as a grim reminder of Portland's dark past to the eerie silence of the abandoned town of Golden, each of these places has earned its reputation through decades, sometimes centuries, of inexplicable phenomena. Whether you're a believer, a skeptic, or simply someone who enjoys a good ghost story, these places will send shivers down your spine. So, if you're ready to step into the shadows, grab a blanket, turn off the lights, and prepare yourself for a night of terror. Whether you believe in the paranormal or not, these stories will leave you questioning what really lies beneath the surface of Oregon's most haunted places, and what waits patiently in the darkness. Without further ado, let's begin our descent into the unknown. Number 5 on our list might surprise you, and trust me, things only get scarier from there. The Shanghai tunnels, beneath the streets of Portland. Deep beneath the bustling streets of Portland, Oregon, lies a network of tunnels so steeped in history and horror that they have earned their place among the most haunted places in the United States. Known as the Shanghai tunnels, these underground passages were originally built in the late 19th century to facilitate the movement of goods between the Willamette River and the city's commercial district. However, over time, they became something far more sinister, a labyrinth of secrets, suffering, and the unexplained. Today, these tunnels remain largely sealed off to the public, but those who have explored them speak of eerie encounters, ghostly whispers, and a lingering sense of dread that refuses to fade. The origins of the Shanghai tunnels date back to the late 1800s when Portland was a booming port city. As ships arrived from Asia and Europe, merchants needed a way to transport goods efficiently through the muddy, unpaved streets above. To solve this problem, a series of underground passageways were constructed, connecting warehouses, storefronts, and even hotels to the docks. These tunnels allowed for the discreet movement of cargo, and for a time, they served as a vital part of Portland's economy. However, as with many hidden places, the tunnels soon became a haven for criminal activity. During the early 20th century, Portland's underground became infamous for the practice of Shanghaiing, a brutal form of kidnapping where unsuspecting men were lured into bars, drugged, and then sold into forced labor on outbound ships. Many of these victims were taken through the tunnels, dragged from one building to another before being shipped off to sea. Some never returned, their bodies reportedly disposed of in the very passages that had carried them to their fate. It is said that the echoes of their screams still haunt the tunnels, and that the spirits of the lost linger in the darkness, forever trapped beneath the city. Today, portions of the Shanghai tunnels remain accessible through guided tours at the Old Town Underground, though many sections are sealed off due to structural instability and safety concerns. Those who have ventured into the deepest parts of the tunnels report an overwhelming sense of unease, as if an unseen presence is watching from the shadows. Visitors have described sudden drops in temperature, strange sounds that seem to come from nowhere, and the sensation of being touched when no one is near. Some claim to have seen shadowy figures moving through the corridors, vanishing into the darkness before they can be approached. Others swear they have heard the sound of distant footsteps echoing through the tunnels, even when they are alone. One of the most chilling accounts comes from a group of paranormal investigators who conducted an overnight vigil in the tunnels. Equipped with thermal imaging cameras and audio recorders, they set up in one of the deeper chambers, hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. As the night progressed, they noticed something strange, an orb of light hovering near the ceiling, pulsing gently before vanishing into the air. Moments later, one of the investigators claimed to hear a woman's voice whispering his name, though no one else was present. When he turned around, he swore he saw the silhouette of a figure standing in the doorway, only to disappear when he stepped closer. Another unsettling phenomenon reported by visitors is the overwhelming sense of despair that settles over certain areas of the tunnels. Some describe feeling an inexplicable sadness, as if the walls themselves are mourning the suffering that took place within them. Others have reported feeling physically drained, as though the very air is thick with the weight of history. Some believe that these feelings are the result of residual energy left behind by the countless souls who suffered in the tunnels, while others suggest that the spirits of the victims still linger, unable to move on. Despite their haunted reputation, the Shanghai tunnels remain a fascinating piece of Portland's history. They serve as a reminder of a darker time, when the city's prosperity came at a terrible cost. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, there is something undeniably eerie about walking through these underground corridors, knowing that the past is never truly buried. For those who dare to explore, the Shanghai tunnels offer an experience unlike any other, a glimpse into a world where the line between history and horror blurs, and where the echoes of the past still whisper through the darkness. Bagby Hot Springs, a sanctuary of spirits nestled deep within the lush wilderness of the Mount Hood National Forest, lies a place of natural beauty and quiet serenity. Bagby Hot Springs. Surrounded by towering evergreens and the gentle murmur of the Clackamas River, these mineral-rich thermal pools have long been a favorite destination for hikers and nature lovers seeking relaxation and rejuvenation. However, beneath the soothing warmth of the water lies a history of tragedy and the unsettling reports of paranormal activity that have earned Bagby Hot Springs a place among Oregon's most haunted locations. The origins of Bagby Hot Springs date back to the early 20th century, when the area was developed as a rustic retreat for travelers seeking the healing properties of the natural hot springs. Wooden bathhouses and cabins were constructed along the riverbank, offering visitors a peaceful escape from the outside world. For decades, the springs remained a beloved getaway, but in the 1980s, a devastating fire destroyed much of the infrastructure, leaving only the stone bathhouse and the remains of the old trails. Despite the destruction, the allure of the hot springs remained, and over the years, volunteers and outdoor enthusiasts have worked to restore the site, preserving its history while allowing nature to reclaim its space. Yet, for all its beauty, Bagby Hot Springs is said to be haunted by the spirits of those who once sought solace in its waters. According to local legend, the most famous ghost associated with the springs is that of a woman known only as the Lady of Bagby. She is believed to have been a guest at the original bathhouse in the early 1900s, a woman who had come to the springs seeking peace after the tragic death of her lover. Some say she drowned in the river while swimming late at night, while others claim she took her own life, overwhelmed by grief. Whatever the truth, visitors to Bagby Hot Springs have long reported seeing her ghostly figure standing near the edge of the water, her pale face illuminated by the moonlight. Some claim she appears in the reflection of the hot spring pools, staring back at them before vanishing into the mist. Beyond the legend of the Lady of Bagby, the hot springs are said to be haunted by other restless souls. Hikers who have spent the night in the area often describe hearing faint whispers carried by the wind, their voices unintelligible yet filled with sorrow. Some have reported feeling an unseen presence standing behind them while they soaked in the pools, only to turn around and find no one there. Others have spoken of sudden chills despite the warmth of the water, as if the air itself is thick with the weight of the past. One of the most chilling accounts comes from a group of backpackers who camped near the hot springs one autumn evening. As they sat around their campfire, they noticed a figure standing at the edge of the tree-line, watching them in silence. Thinking it was another hiker, one of the group called out, asking if they needed help. The figure did not respond, simply standing there before slowly turning and vanishing into the darkness. The next morning, when the group explored the area, they found no sign of footprints or any indication that someone had been there the night before. Another unsettling phenomenon reported by visitors is the sound of faint laughter echoing through the forest late at night, despite the area being completely deserted. Some believe these are the lingering voices of past visitors, their joy and laughter preserved in the very air around the springs. Others suggest that the laughter is a warning, a sign that the spirits of the dead are watching. Despite its haunted reputation, Bagby Hot Springs remains a popular destination for those seeking both physical and spiritual healing. Whether the spirits of the past truly linger in the mist, or if the weight of history simply leaves an imprint on those who visit, one thing is certain: Bagby Hot Springs is a place where the line between the living and the dead feels disturbingly thin. For those who dare to visit, the experience is unforgettable, a journey into a world where nature and the supernatural intertwine, and where the echoes of the past still whisper through the trees. The Oregon State Hospital, echoes of suffering and the unseen tucked away in the quiet city of Salem, Oregon, lies a place where history and horror intertwine in the most chilling ways possible. The Oregon State Hospital. Established in 1861, this psychiatric institution was once a beacon of hope for those suffering from mental illness, but over the decades, it became a place of torment, neglect, and unspeakable suffering. Today, the hospital is best known for its role in Ken Kesey's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, a novel that exposed the brutal realities of institutionalized care. However, beyond its literary legacy, the hospital is infamous for its paranormal activity, stories of ghostly whispers, shadowy figures, and the lingering presence of those who suffered within its walls. The hospital's haunted reputation is deeply rooted in its past. For much of its history, the Oregon State Hospital was overcrowded and underfunded, leading to deplorable conditions for its patients. In the early 20th century, the hospital housed thousands of individuals diagnosed with various mental illnesses, many of whom were subjected to inhumane treatments such as electroshock therapy, lobotomies, and chemical sedation. Patients were often kept in isolation for extended periods, their cries for help ignored. Some were even used as test subjects in experimental procedures, their suffering dismissed as necessary for scientific advancement. It is said that the pain and anguish of these forgotten souls still echo through the hospital's halls, their spirits unable to find peace. One of the most frequently reported paranormal occurrences at the hospital involves the sound of disembodied voices whispering in the empty corridors. Visitors and former staff members have described hearing faint murmurs coming from the old patient wards, as if the voices of the past are still trying to be heard. Some claim to have heard the sound of a woman sobbing softly in the distance, only to find no source of the sound. Others have reported hearing the distant sound of a child laughing, though no children have lived in the hospital for decades. These eerie encounters have led many to believe that the spirits of former patients still linger, their suffering trapped within the very walls that once confined them. Another chilling aspect of the hospital's haunted reputation is the phenomenon of shadow figures appearing in the periphery of one's vision. Witnesses have described seeing dark, humanoid silhouettes darting through the hallways, only to vanish when approached. Some have reported feeling an unseen presence following them, the sensation of being watched growing stronger with each step. Paranormal investigators who have explored the hospital claim to have captured images of these shadow figures on camera, their forms barely distinguishable against the backdrop of the decaying walls. Some believe these entities are the spirits of patients who endured unimaginable pain, their anger and despair manifesting in the form of these eerie apparitions. Perhaps the most disturbing accounts come from those who have claimed to see the ghost of a former patient known as Jane Doe. In the 1970s, a woman was admitted to the hospital under mysterious circumstances, her identity unknown. She was reportedly found wandering the streets of Salem, muttering incoherently and covered in scratches, as if she had been running through the woods for days. She was placed in isolation, where she remained for several months before disappearing without a trace. Some say she escaped, while others believe she was moved to another facility. However, many who have visited the hospital claim to have seen her ghost, pale, gaunt, and with hollow eyes that seem to pierce through the soul. Some have reported seeing her standing at the end of the hallway, staring directly at them before vanishing into thin air. Others have claimed she has whispered their names in the dead of night, her voice filled with sorrow and longing. Beyond individual hauntings, the hospital is also said to be filled with unexplained phenomena. Visitors have described sudden drops in temperature, particularly in the old patient wards, where the air becomes unbearably cold despite the warm climate of Oregon. Some have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of despair, as if the very atmosphere is thick with the weight of suffering. Others have described objects moving on their own, doors slamming shut without explanation, lights flickering in rooms that have long been abandoned, and medical equipment turning on by itself. Despite its haunted reputation, the Oregon State Hospital remains a functioning facility, though many of its older buildings have been demolished or renovated to make way for modern psychiatric care. However, the remnants of its dark past still linger, and those who dare to explore the remaining structures often leave with an indelible sense of unease. Whether the spirits of the past truly haunt the hospital, or if the weight of history simply leaves an imprint on those who visit, one thing is certain: the Oregon State Hospital is a place where the echoes of suffering refuse to be forgotten. The Klamath County Museum, whispers of the past nestled in the heart of Klamath Falls, Oregon. The Klamath County Museum stands as a testament to the region's rich history and cultural heritage. With its striking architecture and extensive collection of artifacts, the museum offers visitors a glimpse into the lives of the indigenous peoples, early settlers, and the natural wonders of the area. However, beneath its educational exhibits and historical displays lies a darker narrative, one steeped in local legends and eerie occurrences that have earned the museum a reputation as one of Oregon's most haunted places. The museum's haunted legacy is closely tied to the story of a tragic event that occurred in the early 1900s. Local lore tells of a young woman named Eliza, who was a devoted employee of the museum during its formative years. Eliza was known for her passion for history and her deep connection to the artifacts she curated. Tragically, her life was cut short in a mysterious accident within the museum's walls. According to the legend, Eliza was conducting a late-night inventory when she fell down a flight of stairs, sustaining fatal injuries. Since that fateful night, her spirit is said to have never left the building, lingering among the exhibits she once cherished. Visitors to the Klamath County Museum have reported a variety of unsettling experiences that suggest the presence of Eliza's spirit. Many have described feeling an inexplicable chill in certain areas of the museum, particularly near the staircase where Eliza met her demise. Others have claimed to hear soft whispers echoing through the halls, as if Eliza is trying to communicate with those who visit. Some have even reported seeing fleeting glimpses of a woman in period clothing, her figure fading into the shadows before they can approach her. One of the most chilling accounts comes from a group of schoolchildren who visited the museum for a field trip. As they wandered through the exhibits, they began to hear a faint humming sound that seemed to grow louder as they approached the staircase. Intrigued, they followed the sound, only to find no one nearby. Suddenly, one of the children pointed to the top of the stairs and claimed to see a woman standing there, smiling down at them. Before they could react, the figure vanished, leaving the children in stunned silence. The teacher later dismissed the incident as a product of imagination, but the children remained convinced they had encountered something beyond the realm of the living. Oakland Cemetery, a city of the dead tucked away in the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, lies Oakland Cemetery, a place where history and the supernatural intertwine in the most unsettling ways possible. Established in 1850, this sprawling burial ground is the final resting place for some of Atlanta's most prominent figures, including former mayors, Civil War soldiers, and even the infamous Margaret Mitchell, author of Gone with the Wind. But beyond its historical significance, Oakland Cemetery is steeped in legends of the paranormal, with countless reports of ghostly apparitions, eerie whispers, and inexplicable phenomena that have cemented its place among the most haunted cemeteries in the United States. One of the most chilling legends associated with Oakland Cemetery is that of the Weeping Angel. Nestled among the graves in the Victorian section of the cemetery stands a statue of an angel, its head bowed in eternal mourning. According to local lore, this angel is said to weep at night, its silent tears falling onto the grave below. Some believe the angel is mourning the loss of a young woman who died tragically in the late 1800s, while others claim it is the guardian of a long-forgotten secret buried beneath the stone. Visitors who have ventured to the Angel's Tomb late at night claim to have heard the faint sound of sobbing, only to find no one nearby. Others have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of sadness when standing near the statue, as if the sorrow of the past is seeping into the present. Elmhurst Cemetery, the phantom of the White Lady nestled in the quiet town of Elmhurst, Illinois, lies a cemetery that has become the subject of countless ghost stories and eerie encounters. Elmhurst Cemetery. Established in 1872, this serene burial ground was once a peaceful resting place for the town's early settlers. However, over the decades, whispers of the supernatural have transformed it into one of the most haunted cemeteries in the Midwest. Among the many legends tied to Elmhurst Cemetery, none is as chilling as the tale of the White Lady, a spectral figure said to wander the grounds in search of a lost love. According to local lore, the White Lady was once a young woman named Eleanor, who lived in the mid-1800s and fell deeply in love with a traveling musician. The two were inseparable, their romance blossoming beneath the shade of the cemetery's towering oaks. However, tragedy struck when the musician was called away to fight in the Civil War. Before leaving, he promised Eleanor that he would return to her, no matter the cost. Desperate to keep her beloved close, Eleanor made a fateful decision. She vowed to wait for him at the cemetery's gates, believing that if he ever returned, he would find her there. Years passed, and Eleanor remained faithful, standing at the cemetery's entrance each night, scanning the horizon for any sign of her lover. As time wore on, the townspeople grew uneasy, whispering that Eleanor had lost her grip on reality. Some claimed she had gone mad. Final reflections, echoes beneath the headstones as we bring this journey through America's most haunted cemeteries to a close. One truth becomes undeniable. These sacred grounds are more than just resting places for the dead. They are living archives of history, tragedy, and the unexplained. Each cemetery we've explored carries a story etched in sorrow, a whisper from the past that refuses to fade. From the voodoo-infused tombs of Lafayette Cemetery to the spectral riders of Sleepy Hollow, from the Weeping Angel of Lakeview to the mournful White Lady of Elmhurst, these locations remind us that the boundary between the living and the dead is thinner than we dare to believe. What makes these places so haunting isn't just the legends or the ghostly encounters, it's the humanity at their core. Every grave holds a life lived, a moment frozen in time, a story that demands to be remembered. Whether it's the anguished cries of the Bell Witch's victims, the restless souls of Civil War soldiers buried at Oakland Cemetery, or the eternal vigil of Marie Laveau's followers, these are not just tales of terror. They are echoes of real lives, real pain, and real history. They invite us to confront the unknown, to grapple with mysteries that defy explanation, and to consider the possibility that the past is never truly gone. It lingers in the wind, in the stones, in the shadows of every headstone. Yet, even as we explore these haunted corners of the United States, we must tread with respect. These are not mere attractions or backdrops for thrill-seeking adventures. They are places of mourning, of memory, and of unfinished energy that deserves our reverence. Whether you visit in person or simply immerse yourself in their stories from afar, remember that every creaking gate, every shadow in the corner of your eye, every chill that runs down your spine could be more than just imagination. It could be a voice from the past, waiting to be heard. So, dear explorers of the unknown, as you step back into the light of the present, carry these stories with you. Let them remind you that history is not confined to books or museums. It walks among us, hidden in crumbling crypts, windswept mausoleums, and the quiet hum of forgotten prayers. And who knows? Perhaps the next time you find yourself near one of these haunted grounds, you'll pause at the gates, heart pounding, breath held, wondering if the spirits of the past are watching you just as closely as you're watching them. Until our next descent into the shadows, stay curious, stay brave, and above all, stay listening. The dead have more to say. The shadows that linger as we bring our journey through Oregon's most haunted places to a close, one truth becomes undeniable. These locations are more than just remnants of the past. They are living echoes of history, tragedy, and the unexplained. From the shadowy corridors of the Shanghai tunnels to the spectral whispers of Bagby Hot Springs, from the blood-soaked halls of the Oregon State Hospital to the eerie silence of the abandoned town of Golden, each of these places carries a story etched in sorrow, a whisper from the past that refuses to fade. What makes these places so haunting isn't just the legends or the ghostly encounters, it's the humanity at their core. Every location we've explored holds a life lived, a moment frozen in time, a story that demands to be remembered. Whether it's the anguished cries of the lost souls in the Shanghai tunnels, the mournful spirit of Eliza at the Klamath County Museum, or the restless echoes of Golden's vanished residence, these are not just tales of terror. They are echoes of real lives, real pain, and real history. They invite us to confront the unknown, to grapple with mysteries that defy explanation, and to consider the possibility that the past is never truly gone. It lingers in the wind, in the stones, in the shadows of every abandoned building. Yet, even as we explore these haunted corners of Oregon, we must tread with respect. These are not mere attractions or backdrops for thrill-seeking adventures. They are places of mourning, of memory, and of unfinished energy that deserves our reverence. Whether you visit in person or simply immerse yourself in their stories from afar, remember that every creaking gate, every shadow in the corner of your eye, every chill that runs down your spine could be more than just imagination. It could be a voice from the past, waiting to be heard. So, dear explorers of the unknown, as you step back into the light of the present, carry these stories with you. Let them remind you that history is not confined to books or museums. It walks among us, hidden in crumbling tunnels, wind-swept hot springs, and the quiet hum of forgotten prayers. And who knows? Perhaps the next time you find yourself near one of these haunted grounds, you'll pause at the gates, heart pounding, breath held, wondering if the spirits of the past are watching you just as closely as you're watching them. Until our next descent into the shadows, stay curious, stay brave, and above all, stay listening. The dead have more to say.